I've lived on Sycamore Lane my whole life. It's the kind of quiet street where everyone knows everyone. And everyone knows to keep their distance from the woman in the faded blue shawl. Every morning at precisely 7:15, she walks past my house with a wicker basket looped over her arm. Her silver hair is always tied in a long braid that rests between her shoulder blades, and she walks with a slight limp. No one speaks to her. No one waves. Kids are told to come inside when she passes, and whispers follow her like autumn leaves in the wind. They say she's a witch. I used to believe it too. But curiosity's a strange itch, and one morning, just after the frost had started clinging to the tips of grass, I decided to follow her. I was careful, staying far enough behind so she wouldn't notice. She walked past the bakery, the post office, and the church without looking up once. She took a narrow path behind the old mill, one I'd never noticed before, until she reached a small cottage nestled among pines. I waited behind a tree, heart thumping like I'd stolen something, and watched as she went about her business. She set the basket on a table, pulled out jars of honey and bundles of dried herbs. She fed a group of cats that came out from under the porch. She hummed a tune I didn't recognize, but it sounded like sunlight and sorrow. When she turned and looked straight at me, I nearly tripped over my own feet trying to run. But she just smiled. "You may as well come in, child," she called. "I've made too much tea for one." I don't know what made me go inside. Maybe it was her voice. Maybe it was the loneliness in her eyes, so familiar to the one I sometimes saw in the mirror. Her name was Elspeth. She wasn't a witch, not in the way people said. She was a midwife once and a gardener. She talked to animals like they were old friends and could name every flower by touch. Her husband died decades ago, and with no children of her own, she had simply faded into the quiet edges of town. No one visited her. No one asked. We drank tea with honey and thyme. I told her about school, about my sketchbooks, about how lonely I'd felt even with people around. She listened like every word mattered. After that day, I visited her every week. Sometimes we baked. Sometimes we just sat in the garden and watched the clouds roll by. She taught me how to dry lavender, how to make a poultice, how to listen. The town still gossips, still warns their children to keep away. But I know better now. Elspeth isn't a witch. She's a kind soul who was forgotten. And I'm glad I remembered her.